Captain Nabor, the time has been set for a few days now through posts, tweets, and videos shared on social media from Ouagadougou to New York, passing through Accra, Nairobi, Durban. From well-known or lesser-known faces of political leaders, African and Pan-African youth are mobilizing to denounce the aggressions against Burkina Faso in its fight for complete sovereignty. Mobilization sparked by the remarks of American General Michael Langley. It all started on April 3rd when the said general, commander of the U.S. AFRICOM Command, stated during a public session of the United States Senate Committee that Burkina Faso's mineral resources were not benefiting Burkina Faso. It took little for the Burkinabés to raise their shields. An outrage in eastern Burkina and all over the world. The government responds. Citizen watchdog organizations are not indifferent. AFRICOM replica. And April 30th is chosen to denounce and block any attempt to destabilize Burkina and the countries of the ASA. True to its slogan, RTB has deployed its teams to echo this mobilization throughout Burkina and the world, while also providing some insights into the current issues. To do this, I welcome to this set Mr. Liciencier, communicator at Senavesi. Hello. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, dear co-panelists. Hello to all the viewers of Red RTB.
We also have with us Dr. Nebier, a lecturer, researcher, specialist in analysis and discourse. Hello, doctor.
Hello, madam.
Welcome. Thank you. Also with us is Dr. Yacente Wedraogo, a lecturer, researcher in African civilization. Hello. Hello, madam. Rosalita Nada, communicator for the CNAVC, is also with us. Hello, madam. Hello, madam. Welcome. Thank you. So, dear viewers, Nayakwit Eda will also be with us and live from the Place de la Nation to bring us the atmosphere of the mobilization on this April 30th. So, to start, madam, I'll begin with you.
Greetings, families. Welcome back once again. I hope you are well. I hope your day is good. If this is your first time, my name is Mamli, and you are very welcome. Yes, the reactions of the American General concerning our captain, Ibrahim Traore, continues. Oh my goodness, there is a lot. After yesterday, I was exhausted. I didn't want to share anything, but this particular one, I work on it, listen to it over and over. I thought it worth sharing because they are very, very interesting statements, discussions that went on over 50-something minutes. I've just taken a bit. Families, please listen, and I'll be back.
What is the symbol or symbolism of this April 30th, in your opinion, as a communicator for the CNAVC and the organization behind this mobilization? This April 30th is truly a historic day.
It is a historic day for us to see that the entire world has mobilized behind a single person. That means a lot of things. And really, it is very pleasing to see that the struggle we have been leading since, I would say, September 30th, 2022, is supported and is followed by the entire world. April 2025, yes. The arrival of Captain Ibrahim Traore. I'm talking about September 30th, 2022. All right, there you go. The struggle we have been leading since September 30th, 2022. We are proud to know that this struggle has been adopted by the entire world and embraced by everyone. Today, we are proud to be called upon or supported by Captain Ibrahim Traore because we did not make a wrong choice. The whole world is with us. We have seen the mobilization. It is international. And truly for us, it goes straight to our hearts. And we are really proud to know that we are no longer alone in the struggle. We saw what happened in '87, and we know that today, '87 can never happen again in Burkina Faso, because it will no longer be Burkina Faso alone, but those who want to do that will have to face the entire world.
The doctor, what interpretation can we make of the symbol of this April 30th?
Thank you, Madame Melissa Larteve, always at the heart of major events, for this opportunity you give us to express ourselves on the mobilization. Almost international, on this April 30th, and the symbolism here is to send a strong message to all the enemies of Burkina Faso whether they are from inside or outside, they must understand that the world has literally changed, the world has literally evolved, and in the 21st century, we cannot continue to pull the strings as if we were in 1960. Those who have not, as a friend says, who have not yet updated their mindset will have to understand it once and for all. And as you mentioned right from the start, this almost international mobilization was born from the statements of the US general. So, greetings like General Langley, who implied before the Senate that the wealth of Burkina Faso derived from mining does not benefit the entire population, but rather the protection of Captain Ibrahim Traore. You see, it's so unfortunate. And when the general says it, it's not an isolated act. You will also remember that in 2024, the French general, he's the buddy, the co-elected, hinted in the newspaper Le Monde, which is not just any newspaper, that France or Europe, or if you prefer the West, should in one way or another reconquer the Sahel, to reconquer the country. They have lost. And when such phrases are thrown out, I can assure you that Westerners, and especially the figures in their network, don't just say it like that. It means that already when you say it, there are things that have already been done underground. And they want to prepare minds and encourage internal enemies to take action, knowing they have support from outside. And this mobilization precisely serves to remind all those who think that the fight Captain Ibrahim Traore is leading is just a fight for Burkina Faso. It shows that it's a fight of the captain alone. It is not. It goes beyond the captain's dimension today. Because what he initiated since his rise to power is truly the Burkinabe. The Africans refuse to support him. It's Africa itself that is losing this quite decisive turn.
So, Doctor, we will return to the stakes of today's mobilization. In the meantime, Mr. Zier, what argument you oppose the assertions of General Langley, who says that the mineral resources of Burkina Faso did not benefit Burkina Faso enough? What are your arguments in opposition?
Thank you. Thank you, madam. Thank you to FTB for giving us the opportunity to express ourselves on this current issue that has captured international attention.
It must be said that the unfortunate and sordid remarks of General Michael Langley are likely to undermine the efforts of our people. You know very well Captain Ibrahim Traore has said that the fight against terrorism is aligned with the development process, with everything that is a mechanism allowing us to develop our national productive fabric, and everything that can enable us to fight against poverty and misery of our populations. In this context, he has decided to initiate reforms in several sectors precisely to achieve the development objectives. It is in this logic that he decided to implement reforms in the mining sector. These reforms have not been to the liking of imperialism. When he says that the wealth of our country is used for the protection of Captain Ibrahim Traore, it's just creating a kind of political revolt to incite uprisings in our country, believing that we are still years in the 19th century, in the 18th century, to incite revolts among our populations so that we oppose the captain. However, this is not the case. The captain has reformed the mining sector to address the needs of our people, to allow our people to benefit from the fruits of mining exploitation in Burkina Faso. But these remarks are also made simply because he himself, when he said it in a very specific context, in front of a major body that is the Senate. Given the number of countries represented in that Senate, one could say it is the largest body in terms of a body and a public science. He seems to defend a budget, the AFRICOM budget, and he denounces, he wants to have the budget, strengthen his budget at the AFRICOM level and be able to do what? Travel to all the countries in Africa. All the countries that oppose the AIS to our will, truly committed to displaying our sovereignty. If you look at the same general, before distracting from his remarks, he was in Algeria, he was in Benin, in Togo. He toured those countries. Even recently, he still has some wood. He toured those countries precisely to see to what extent they can engage in a treacherous act, as they are accustomed to doing, to destabilize the IS countries. Because with the sovereignist dynamic that is initiated by...
Thank you so much, families, for listening. If you are still here, this part, our brother, gentleman, has said something that I had never think of. Maybe some of you may not think or do not know about. According to him, the general has traveled to so many Africa countries, West Africa countries, within that time, before the statement, preparing the ground before sowing the seed for Burkinabés to stand up and say, yes, what he's saying is right. We need to get up because the resources is not benefiting us. Families, please listen, and I'll be back. Very interesting.
Going to do. Travel to all the countries in Africa, all the countries that oppose the AIS, to our will, truly committed to displaying our sovereignty. If you look at the same generals, before making this statement, he was in Algeria, he was in Benin, in Togo. He toured those countries. Even recently, he did it again. He toured those countries to see to what extent they can engage in a treacherous act, as they are accustomed to doing, to destabilize the IS countries. Because with the sovereignist dynamic, which is initiated by our great leaders, our resources, our policy, we assume them in a sovereign and responsible manner. This is what I have to say. So we refuse.
Thank you. Arguments opposed to General Langley's statements.
Thank you very much for the question and for the show. I believe we must first start. Thank you. Ask a question even to General Langley in the form of a response. When he takes the time to say that, but the benefits therefore, the exploitation of mineral resources does not benefit the people, but a regime, let him tell us, before this current regime, what were the national riches of Burkina Faso intended for? What were these riches intended for? Because we know that development was not happening with the Burkinabe people when President Traore came to power. This is to say that before his arrival, all these industries, or even if those mining exploitation structures were transporting our mineral resources somewhere. And it's because these riches are no longer entering that same circuit that they are starting to worry.
I was actually going to ask, why are these powers so hesitant when it comes to the mineral resources of the African continent?
Yes, I believe this allows us to understand the very coupling that exists between terrorism and imperialism. Today, we know that terrorism is sponsored by imperialism with the aim of keeping our states in a state of decay, a state of fragility that forces us to call upon, to resort to Western powers who will come to station themselves with the aim of helping us fight terrorism. However, as we have seen in Mali for over 10 years, the stationing of European forces was not the solution between the Malian central state and these terrorists and rebels who found themselves in the northern part up to Kidal, which they had occupied, which served as their headquarters. So today, imperialism knows that with the momentum driven by the leadership of our states, especially in Burkina Faso, terrorism is an evil that we will eventually dismantle. And when we have done so, we will then have our true independence and complete control over our resources. That is why it is necessary to maintain this evil to prevent us. So I believe that the statements of the American general are a way to avoid facing the issue. It's to prevent us from reaching a definitive solution to this crisis. And this definitive solution will also deprive them of their control. Until now, they have had a certain control, a certain hold over our resources.
Okay, our sister asked a question. Like, I know many of you will ask this question. Why are they concerned? We know the reason why they are concerned. But she's asking, They were there for security. They were there to protect these countries. Years and years, 50 years to be precise. They couldn't do it. So why doesn't he talk about security instead of talking about good? You know, the game has changed. It's not like it used to be anymore. Please listen and I'll be back once again.
So, Dr. Nebia, he could have talked about the security situation of the transition in Burkina, but specifically about the use of mining resources. What do you imply by these remarks?
It's clear. Dr. Ouedraogo just said it. It's the wealth that interests them, these great powers. When they come to Africa under the guise of human rights organizations, it's not armies that will allow us to stabilize our countries. In truth, that's not it. And when you take the case of US-AFRICOM, it has existed since 2005. And since 2005, at least every year, there are 33 African countries involved. And among the 33 countries involved, each year, there are at least 3,000 African soldiers who are trained in capacity building to enable them to fight against insecurity in all its forms. But since 2005, if you take from 2005 to 2025, that's 20 years. If normally, the mission assigned to US-AFRICOM, which is to strengthen the capacities of African soldiers to fight against terrorism and other forms of insecurity, if that mission had been accomplished from 2005 to today, has the security situation in the different African countries improved or not? The answer is indeed no. So this is to say that it is our resources that interest them, and Dr. Ouedraogo says it so well. Before the arrival of Captain Ibrahim Traore, we know that for more than 15 years now, because gold has been the main export product of Burkina Faso. It is the primary exploitation product. Before it was cotton. No, we have supplanted cotton. But up to today, the captain has been in power for 2 years. If you take away those 2 years, in the approximately 15 years where we have transitioned. Main exploitation product, so those resources benefited Burkina Faso, us, we who are Burkinabe. So the answer there is also no. This is to say that in reality, it's because the captain decided that our gold will no longer pass through. Mafia networks. To reach Europe, the West, including the United States and France today, we see all these gesticulations. But as His Excellency, the Prime Minister, said during the Grand Oral, English, he would do well to focus on military matters. If truly he is not a general of Pakoti, if he focuses on those military issues, maybe he will have results. But in terms of manipulation, as the PM says, he stands out for his notorious incapacity. So today, it's our order that interests them.
Thank you so much for being here once again. Here, our brother talks about so many interesting things. And then he said, you should read between the lines. We should read between the lines, yes. Oh, I'll be back once again, family.
And when they say it, I say again, you have to read between the lines. He says that the order in Burkina benefits the protection of Captain Mbata Ori. He also adds that the resources, the revenues from cooperation with China, also benefit Captain Ibrahim Traore. Here, there are two key actors whom they refuse or whom the United States refuses to confront directly. And they want to shift their fight to Burkina. That is with China, regarding the revenues from cooperation with China and also gold, because you are not unaware that you have Burkinabes who have turned their backs on the Republic, who have self-exiled. And today, when you listen to them, the discourse is that it's Wagner. And it's Wagner who would ensure the protection of Captain Ibrahim Traore. So when the English say it, it's to imply that Burkina's gold benefits Wagner. And he is pleased because it no longer benefits the United States, it no longer benefits France. So here, this is what needs to be understood. And in any case, we have said if Burkina's gold, because at a certain point, this needs to be said to people, even if Captain Ibrahim Traore, Raoul and the late, and I say it, and those who follow us there, if they want, they can go and say what they want. Captain Ibrahim Traore wants to take all the water from Burkina Gar to his home and bring us back security. Because in any case, the United States, France, and the regimes that have succeeded in Burkina have stolen from Burkina. The sharing of Burkina, but security was not present in Burkina Faso.
In any case, the general's remarks would have had an effect on social networks and politics, and reactions were coming from everywhere. So, Ms. Tarnagda, can we say, in light of what is happening in Burkina and around the world, as we've seen through the media, that we finally have a conscious generation, as often sung about by artists? Yes, and for
There is, we can. Even if I believe we are on the way, we are on the way. And there is really something to be proud of. When we know that there are always, if we look at certain countries, we see that there are still people who are manipulated, who are under the influence of imperialism. But today the trend is changing. The trend is changing, and we really need to applaud that and continue. I can say that the awakening of consciousness has begun. This is the fight that the AES is currently leading, which is awakening consciousness. What didn't they tell us at the beginning? When Captain Ibrahim Traore came to power, they told us, those same Americans over time, supposedly what? They told us that the economy was something we wouldn't even last 3 months with. Today, it's been 3 years. And they can't understand. And this shows to the world that, and it is us ourselves to decide what we want to become. If we want a better world, it goes without saying that we must rise and fight. If we want an Africa that will even surpass the United States and others, because those states, in fact, they scare us. Why? Are they afraid if Africa unites? If Africa rises, we will surpass them. And so, why is it I? We are seeing the youth waking up. The youth waking up. And soon, I hope that Musuro, this generation that will shake the entire world.
hello, everyone. Are we finally rediscovering the African youth of the era of Thomas Sankara, the generation of Thomas Sankara, Poilu, Muma, and other videos from back then? Yes, I believe that, as she said so well, I think that awareness is starting to take hold.
And as Sankara said, you are me. And thousands of Sankaras will be born. It's like a prophecy that is starting today to be fulfilled. And today we are succeeding in a challenge. It's the refusal of isolation. Sankara had been isolated, politically abandoned, because even neighboring countries.
Allow me to interrupt you. There is no quitting. Who is Niakite from the side of Place de la Nation? Hello, Niakite? I am a doctor. I am a doctor. I am a doctor. We don't have Niakite on the island, but we still have images from Place de la Nation. We can already see that the mobilization is real. The place is given to the world. Hello, Niakite. So Nyakpet Edda is not online. We will continue with the doctor while waiting to find him later.
I was saying that Sankara had been politically isolated, abandoned by neighboring countries, isolated ideologically. We had managed to make Africans believe that what Sankara says is just theory. It can never be practical. He was isolated. And even there were heads of state. Even many African populations were watching him. Even today, we like to say that Sankara was ahead of his generation. Today, we have managed to break that myth. The vision carried by Captain Traore, Mave, and the president of the AES is a vision that the masses have embraced, is a vision that even countries, Africans who are far from us, that the masses have embraced. It is even a vision that the African diaspora found in America, Europe, and all over the world has embraced. So today we have managed not to be isolated, so that our struggle is also the struggle of all those who are oppressed in the world, of all those who are victims of imperialism. And even today, when we look at what is happening in South America from the Latin American sword, it's as if even the ultra-globalists, who have always advocated for a globalization different from what we see today, it's as if they have also embraced this ideal, this struggle, and together we are building a barrier. Do you want me to stop?
Yes, we are told that Nia Kiteda is on the line from Place de la Nation. Hello, Nia Kiteda. Hello, Nia Kiteda, can you hear us? Hello, Nia Kiteda, can you please hear us? We have received the images, but not the sound. Please respond to our message if you can. We will try again later, but already we have seen the atmosphere at Place de la Nation. Can you say yes? Okay, over, Doctor.
I am going to change the film of my ideas. I wanted to say that this mobilization is really important. It is decisive because imperialism proceeds since the colonial conquest. Imperialism is divide and rule when they know they cannot defeat us, a group that still tries.
On the day of the immediate meeting, a support meeting for President Sassou, head of state, Captain Ibrahim Traore, thus follows remarks made by an American general, General Michael Langley. And beyond this vigorous response to the general, it is also the manifestation of a people united behind their president, behind their government, and behind all the nation's institutions. In any case, that's the least we can say. These people have committed and rallied behind the president and say no to the meddling in internal affairs. And as you can see, since this morning, there are thousands and thousands of people gathered in this iconic place of the Revolution Beach in Ouagadougou. And so, to say once again, since the transition plan, you can sleep peacefully. We are just united. We are united as one behind you. In any case, I think this is the message that the people have come to deliver this morning to the head of state. It should be noted that this gathering will see the presence of the head of government, Prime Minister Remy Talba, Jean-Emmanuel Ouedraogo. So, given the arrangements, he is expected here. During the speeches, there will first be the Ditanière, the hymn of victory, to once again affirm that Burkina Faso stands tall. And right after the hymn of victory, there will also be an introduction. And after the introductory words, the religious leaders will be called to bless this meeting. Following the blessing of the meeting, there will be the official address by the CNBC, the Coordination of Civic Life Associations. After this address, the Prime Minister will speak to convey the message from the head of state in both French and Moray. This is the right accomplice here to set the scene, Christine. We will now open the broadcast, you and your guests on the set in the studio.
Thank you, Nyakite, for this first update. You will be live until the end of today's mobilization. Back to the set, and I return to you, Mr. Zier. You have seen the images with us. The place is crowded with people. What is your view? We can say you are satisfied with this turnout.
First of all, I would like to congratulate all the patriotic organizations, the civic groups that truly committed to making this meeting happen. This is a historic event for the entire world, for the peoples of the entire world. And what needs to be said is that people continue to arrive. It is almost 10 o'clock. The formal part of the meeting will start around 10:45. There you go. And there will be speeches. From the personalities your colleague mentioned, it must be said today, we are at a stage where we need to support Captain Ibrahim Traore, because he has shown the path that the people must take to achieve true sovereignty, to reclaim the integrity of their territory. And that is why today, when you see the enthusiasm around this Revolution Square again, it reflects the ambition and commitment of every Burkinabe citizen to contribute so that indeed the major projects for change and social transformation in our country can make their contribution.
Thank you, families, for listening. I'm so happy when our brother said they can even give all the money to the president, Captain Ibrahim Traore, if that's what it is, for him to protect them. Because he is protecting them. They didn't protect them. They didn't protect the countries. They were taking it for free. And so, if that's the case, what the general suggested, that he believed that he is using the money for his own protection, then Let him take it all and protect us, because now we know, we can feel it, that is protecting us. I like that bit. Thank you so much, families, for listening and watching up to this stage. It's long. I don't want to take much of your time. When our brother said we should read between the lines, I said, yes, bingo. I said this before. You know the fight that is going on in Ukraine, and what Ukraine has said some time ago. One of the diplomats has said that they have given information to attack Mali. They are drawing this attention. They know the war there is not worrying. One of our sisters would say, they are not getting it right there. After all the monies, everything they put into it, what happened? We all know the story. So yes, let's bring the attention here. Here we can get the gold, we can get the mineral resources we want, so we can make that money. The money we lost. They are not interested in the people. What they are interested in is the resources. Families, I will leave you here. Credit to RTB News for sharing this interesting discussion with us. I've learned a lot out of them, and I'm so happy. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the knowledge, the everything that they have shared with us. It's not going to be the same anymore. We know that. We know the time has changed. See you soon, families. God bless you all. Bye-bye.